Welcome to Southern Latitudes. I'm here, not in my yard, but I'm at the Espinozas farm, urban farm. And this is Nicole and her husband, Jose.
Hello.
And they invited Jack and I over here just to chat and do a little tour, but also just to get to know each other a little bit better. So anyhow, we became fast friends in our last visit over in my yard. But so I'm getting to know your story and what happened here. So you were telling us you started with pretty much sugar sand.
Yes.
and had to bring a lot of mulch in, and then you had other existing structures you had to remove.
We did, yeah. So when we moved here, the backyard was a sand pit, and I actually wrote on our blog about this, and I said how it started with one raised bed because we had all this space, but there was nothing back here. There was one structure over in this corner of the yard. It was like an old shed, and then everything else was just sand and weeds. So I convinced Jose one day to just let me have one raised bed. So we built that bed, and that's the OG bed over there, the one I always call the OG bed. And that just really kicked the whole thing off. We started with that bed, put in another bed, decided we wanted to sod this side of the yard.
I think it started a little bit
Went
before
with the
that.
pool.
Yeah, it started all with the pool construction. But we just had sand, and then we installed the pool.
Yeah.
And then we had nothing but sand. And then we had this thin layer of sand on top of the water, and we're like, okay, we have to do something about how we're going to landscape this. And that's when the conversation started about like, okay, let's not just have grass, let's have a garden. And if we're going to have a garden, let's just not make it flowers and, you know.
We wanted it to be purposeful.
Normal,
we wanted whatever we had
an edible
here.
Garden, so.
Edible.
That leads me right to, they have this urban farm, but they have just made a really nice purchase of 31 acres in Tennessee.
Yes.
Wow, Jack's jealous.
You guys should come
You'll
over.
come see it, don't you worry.
Not gonna lie, that's awesome.
We have a lot of friends that are all moving to Tennessee, so I think we'll be making trips to Tennessee in the future.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come stay with us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. So tell us about your process. And did you just like go, we love gardening, so let's buy tons of acreage?
No,
How did you
this
get
was
there?
actually, I mean, it's been in the making for a long time. The decision has been in the making for a long time.
I mean, we've talked about it. We ended up watching a film, and that wasn't like the first conversation we had about it, but we watched the documentary The Biggest Little Farm. And that documentary, it walks through a couple that they adopt this dog, and they're living in the city, they're living in LA, and they can't keep their dog in their apartment. They're having issues with their neighbors. So they're like, let's buy a farm. Let's move out of the city and just do this life a different way.
Yeah.
And so they build a sustainable farm with rotational grazing. Pest management is built in. You bring in beneficial pests to take care of the bad pests. And so everything's a system. And that really got us thinking more and more about it. And we were like, there's a different way that we could do this life. And we fell in love with growing food, and we really feel like that's our calling, is to like build that community, grow food for ourselves.
And I noticed you actually have mentioned it a couple times that you want to teach people and to feed the community.
Yeah, I would love, up on the farm, we would love to eventually bring schools out and bring classes out and do tours and do little workshops on the farm and really share with people and educate. I mean, even if they just decide to get a GreenStalk, that's still a big change for them in their life. And
Nicole and I, ever since we got together, we talked about having a big property eventually and how we were going to do that. I think that film just kind of motivated us a little bit more to really make it happen sooner than later.
Yeah, it showed us like a way that you can do it.
Yeah.
And that you can still make a life and be profitable and take care of yourselves. And the goal for us isn't to homestead. We watch a lot of homesteaders on YouTube. But our goal is to market garden, to farm, and to actually have a working, productive
and it'll be
farm.
a homestead.
I mean, for us it will be, yes. We'll be living off of it.
Yeah.
But it's even, it's a step further.
You can
than
make
that.
it work for you.
Right, yeah.
We want it to be self-sustaining, right? A self-sustaining system for us to be able to grow and not worry about other inputs, right?
Yeah.
So
I think this whole past 12, 15 months of watching our food supply chain get disrupted and find things hard to purchase,
Right.
you know, it has taught us all, like, maybe we ought to rethink our fast-paced
Right.
life and where we do get our food and
Right. And really, like, what's necessary and what isn't.
you're right.
Yeah.
Your priorities
Yeah.
so changed.
And then once you start to grow stuff, you start to realize that a lot of the food in the stores isn't really food, it's food product. And then you start to realize, what am I actually feeding myself? So it kind of just snowballs, you know?
Yeah.
The other part of the Tennessee decision we get asked a lot is, why Tennessee?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, before we decided Tennessee, we were looking in Florida. And then at the time that we were looking in Florida, I think it was summer here, and we were working around the garden, and we were like, man, this is horrible. We're sweating out here all the time. Can you imagine doing this at a bigger scale?
Yeah. And the limitations.
And the limitations. We were
What you
very
can
limited to
grow
what we can grow.
For that big chunk of time here in Florida. For many months, it's very, very hot. So there's very limited crops that you can grow.
But we did pretty well, you know, with the sweet potatoes and the okra. But still, I mean, the thought was, man, we're dying out here. I had to change my shirts like 10 times one afternoon when we're working out here.
I know. And you dip in the pool between your gardening
Yes.
stuff like I do.
So that was a good thing, right? So
But then we started looking. So we were looking in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. We even looked in Arkansas a bit. So we spent months on the internet
we really did.
looking at properties, looking at land, and a lot of it came down to affordability and climate. Jose and I are both also avid. Yeah, we're avid runners. Running here is torture for like 9 months out of the year. So it's very expensive in Florida to buy land.
Yes.
We were gonna look in North Florida if we were gonna stay here, and North Florida was very expensive. So it just wasn't something that we could reasonably do, while also with the thought of not going into a ton of debt and being able to eventually leave our jobs and have that farm be our job.
Right.
So we had to really take a lot of that into consideration. So we looked for months online. Our first trip that we ended up booking was to Tennessee. We decided to go to Columbia, Tennessee. I found an old dairy farm that has an Airbnb on it that was beautiful.
I think that's a video I saw.
Yes. So we went there, and I mean, instantly we just felt like we were home.
That kind of sealed the deal for us in Tennessee. And you know, we also looked into the laws, and they got good homesteading laws.
They do. Favorable homesteading laws.
State.
No state taxes like Florida.
Much like here.
So that's another.
They don't tax retirement income. The cost of living, even for things like car registration and stuff, is very inexpensive. It's like $32 per year to register your vehicle,
nice.
whether it's a big giant truck or whether it's a car. So there's a lot of different favorable things, but we just fell in love. Like, we go there now. I mean, this is still home. We still love it here, but we go there and we're like, you know, this is where we're meant to be. It feels like home there.
Yeah, because we also love Florida, and so that was part of the harder conversation. Was like, so what do we do? Do we sell this property to get the other property? And you know, ultimately the decision was like, we have to find a way to keep this property and keep our farm. That way, when we want to come back, we can, you know, we have a place to come back to.
Right.
Yeah. And I think actually that was the thing for me. When we went to Tennessee, and actually when we found our property, before that, I could never imagine leaving here. I was like, well, how can we leave all of what we just built here? All of our hard work, all of our gardens. I can't imagine not being here. But when we found our property there, I was like, okay, I can see us leaving. Like, that is no longer where I see us being forever.
You know, there's other really famous YouTubers that just announced last week that they're making a big move. And I thought what Jess said at the end of her Roots and Refuge video was that it was a process, and then once it was all finalized, then she wanted to go home, and it wasn't where she had built that beautiful farm in Arkansas. Home was now all of a sudden changed in her heart to the South Carolina farm.
I saw where the heart is, right?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, that's exactly how I felt, because we had those conversations, and he was like, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be great. And I'm like, I can't imagine leaving here. Like, we just built this pool. Like, this is what we've always wanted. But then when we found the right place, I was like, I can't imagine being anywhere else than
You'll
Tennessee.
build another pool.
Yeah, we can.
In your video where you guys were walking down the, I guess, the path in the mountain or whatever, and you had the fog and all that. Both your eyes were just,
Yeah.
you guys were lit up. You guys were smiling ear to ear.
I think the good awesome part about Tennessee is the seasons. You know, you get all the seasons.
It just feels so different. It's so peaceful and so calm. I mean, it just feels like heaven.
And where we're at is like up in the mountain, right? So, and there's a lot of trees and a lot of forest. So just driving down the highway in like fall, for example, you'll see all the colors of the trees and the leaves. I think it's pretty cool.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, we're about 2,000 feet in elevation from town. Yeah.
Okay.
Background waving.
So tell us all about your GreenStalk.
So this is one of our GreenStalk originals. This is the first one that we purchased. It's 5 tiers. These are what, like 10 inches deep, I think.
Yeah, 10 inches.
That's nice.
You fill them with really good high quality potting soil, and then you can plant pretty much anything you want in these. I've grown a pepper plant out the top, which we actually transplanted into the other side of the yard. Right now we've got radishes that are struggling a bit. I think they get kind of blasted with the sun.
Yeah.
And then lots of basil. This is a cardinal flowering basil. But we really love our GreenStalks because it's given us a ton of extra space in a really small footprint.
Yeah. And you've convinced me when we get to the other GreenStalk, your little strawberry garden over there, we got to do strawberries in a GreenStalk.
And you know what's cool about this is we've grown collard greens on it, and it's done really good.
Yeah.
We get the nice big collards.
I like the depth of these.
Yes.
I think that's
you can do
very
root
beneficial.
Veggies, you can do beets, carrots, but we're about to harvest a bunch of this basil, probably pull out the radishes, and plant this full of mostly collards and mustards, which do really well here throughout the heat. But we are an affiliate. We do have a discount code, Espinoza 10. If you want to purchase a GreenStalk for yourself or for mom for Mother's Day, which is coming
That's
up,
right.
you'll save $10 if you use our code, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support our channel. This is all my dahlias. I wasn't going to do any flowers. I wasn't going to do anything up at the Tennessee farm this year because we're just getting things established up there, but I wanted to test out some dahlias up there. So I bought a bunch of tubers for a bunch of different varieties while we were there. Didn't get a chance to plant them because it rained a bunch and then the clay just turned to like really thick brownie mix. So I decided I'd bring them down here and get them started, and then we'll take them up in May when we go. Over here we've got some suckers from our tomato plants.
I need to do that because mine are just about dead.
If you can see over here, we got like our established tomato plants, and they're, you know, they got tomatoes on them, which is pretty cool. And I think this year we talked about like,
these are big.
they're nice, and the pineapple ones, the suckers we have here, I think are gonna be bigger.
Yeah.
And those are the ones Nicole started over there. Good job, babe.
Thank you.
But these, I think, you know, last year we grew them and we let them get tall, and it got to the point where we were scared about the wind, you know, blowing them over.
Because we're done, right? I mean, hurricane season, you know, getting near the finish line.
Yeah.
So this year, I think the plan is going to be let them get about this big, and then after they finish producing, cut them down and then replace them with some new ones, and then just keeping them short so we can manage the heat, the shade, and keep growing as much as possible. So.
A fig?
This is actually a clipping of our Mexican sunflower.
Oh, I should.
So this one we're going to transplant up in Tennessee. This here is an echinacea. This is actually one of mine that I grew from our seed that I harvested last season. And then this is a firebush clipping. So we're trying to get that growing.
Look at your cucumber.
We actually
Two
got
of them.
3 of them.
Three.
We got these 3 from our neighbor, actually. She planted some and she gave us these 3, and they've been doing pretty good.
This guy's gonna come out today. We're gonna take that cucumber and take this one out because the powdery mildew got to it. We don't want it to spread. And that one hasn't been growing much anymore. This one though, that we planted in the same grow bag, is doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Ready to eat?
Yeah, so this one's continuing to grow, so we'll go ahead and let that one go. And then the plan for these 2 bags, we're gonna harvest this big cabbage today.
That's huge.
You know what? Let me just take it right now.
Don't forget to kiss it.
Yes.
Kiss it, I'll cut it.
I'm putting my face all the way down in it. I thought you were gonna cut it off and then I could kiss it.
You can kiss it again.
My head was hiding in all the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
And did you see what we got underneath the cabbage?
A sweet potato.
Sweet potatoes. Volunteer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
And I'm sorry, I almost killed your baby down there.
Oh, you're good. I can smell it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so these guys will get planted today.
And this is gonna be all worm food. So.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out, Dozer. You're gonna step on some over here. Other way. No, over here. Go.
Yep, that'll all go to the worms.
Hey, Dozer. I feel like I have Buddy with me.
I know. They love greens.
Okay. Here.
Oh, yep. That's what they're waiting for.
Go on, guys. Go in the shade.
Just like Buddy, huh, Jack?
They're vegetarian.
Buddy just
There you go,
absolutely
honey.
loves the garden. Look at the water, the content that's dripping off of it. Now it might be way easier to kiss.
Yes. Look at the shape of that.
I know,
Oh,
right?
it's beautiful.
It's like a spaceship.
Oh
The
my
other one is
goodness,
the
look
same.
at it. It's like a faucet.
Yeah.
Oh, it was probably trapped in there, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then over in this section is our second grow bag stand that we built. We've got zucchini growing in here. Well, these are crookneck squash. And these, knock on wood, are the most
See your
successful squash that I've grown so far here.
Yes. Beautiful. Look at
Yeah, I'm
all
super
your
excited about
blooms
these.
and cucumbers.
Yeah, back here is more cucumbers and then some volunteer snap peas.
Yes.
And then over there's another squash. I don't remember which variety of squash that is. That's a winter variety, I know for sure, and it's gonna vine. And then these cucumbers, I thought I planted lemon cucumbers, but now looking at them, I'm not sure. They might be salt and pepper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cute. What is your pea variety that's working in this heat?
I think those are the gray dwarf sugar
Okay.
snap peas. Yeah.
I've also heard that the Alaska, I think it might be a snow pea, or the Alaska pea, works in Florida heat.
Interesting.
Look at that.
This one's even heavier. Holy cow.
Wow. It's very dense.
Yeah, those are nice.
Ah,
I'll put them inside.
Perfect, thank you. Over here are more of Jose's
Oh, yeah.
prized tomato babies. A lot of these are just a regular beef steak. And then he's been interplanting with the suckers that he's been cutting off of my tomatoes over there.
yeah. And so we saw your poblanos and your peach,
Sugar Rush Peach.
Sugar Rush peach.
This is a shishito.
Oh, you know, I've grown these before from like bunny plants or something, not from seed. They're really nice, super producer.
Yes, so we have a whole bunch more peppers over here.
Look at this.
And then down this row I do a bunch of, oh, that's my echinacea.
Don't want to step on your echinacea.
This one was here since last season. It completely died back and overwintered in Florida, quote unquote. And then now, I mean, look at all these blooms that it's gonna have this year.
It's gorgeous.
You should smell these. They smell so good. They're like honey and they're so strong.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll stay
They
like
do
that
smell
for
like
weeks.
honey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And there's your,
Yeah.
try not to be jealous. Beautiful.
This is our GreenStalk of strawberries. I get a lot of questions about what variety these are. Half of them are Sweet Charlie. I couldn't tell you which half. And then the other ones, I have no idea. I can't remember what I purchased.
Right. Oh, and plus you're spinning them. And so that,
Yeah.
look at that.
And then the second set I got was from Texas Tested Seeds, their website. And that's where I got the Sweet Charlie from.
Okay.
She's not a newer grower, but it's new to her to sell plugs and to sell, what are they called? Bare roots. So if you can go support her, Texas Tested Seeds, they're heat-loving varieties is what she sells.
Nice.
Yes. So all through here, I do potted plants. I try to keep them to like the flowering stuff for beneficial insects to bring over the bees and things to this side of the yard. I've got some borage, some oregano lavender, bee balm. I'm trying to think, that's a borage down there. So that's kind of what I stick to with the containers is some flowers. That way I'm not taking up like growing space over here with flowers.
Yeah, and it's beautiful to look at when
Thank
you're in the
you.
pool and you see the butterflies come by and so forth.
These are my absolute favorite. This is that oregano lavender.
I-
All you have to do, like you saw earlier, is brush past it, and it smells so wonderful.
The oils, yep.
And it didn't take long to get to that stage, and it's just blooming all over the place.
Now, wait till your borage really gets up there, because it's just wonderful to watch all the bees constantly come to
that's
it.
so exciting.
So I had it a couple of years ago in the front, and now I just have it in the food forest.
Oh, okay.
See the moringa?
Yeah.
Yes,
so-
yours looks so good compared to mine.
I'm getting ready to clip the tops here to get a bushier.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna clip this stuff off, and I'll dry it, I'll dehydrate it, and we're gonna send it to Jose's mom.
This stuff tastes the best right here.
Do you eat yours?
Yes, almost every day.
Yeah, we love these. So tasty. And we are gonna try and take some of this as cuttings and take it to Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
We'll see how it does there. And then right behind you, that's our dwarf mulberry.
Yes. Oh,
This
no
guy.
blooms yet, but you'll probably get the fall crop, I would think.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
It's still pretty new. We are gonna clip this off and propagate this as well. Try and get some
Get a
extra
food
plants out. Yeah,
Yeah.
get some food forest going.
Yes.
And this I got from a seed swap, which was really fun. I got it as a tiny little start.
And I love your little succulents here.
Thank you.
They're cute.
It's so funny because I love succulents, and that was one of the first plants I started with because it's real hard to kill them.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I want to rip all these out and use this to grow something edible. And I was thinking,
No, you need
don't
beauty
you
too.
do that."
Don't you dare. That's my succulent garden now.
He's like, you have enough space to grow food.
You can put food there
Yeah.
and there.
I'm always like, I'm gonna take them out, and he's like, don't you dare.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
this here is
beautiful
salvia,
peppers.
this is a first year plant for me too. This is another good flowering beneficial insect one.
Well, so we put red salvia in our butterfly garden up
Did
front,
you?
and it made it through the winter. It looks like it's going to be a perennial.
Oh,
It's just-
awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Came back so strong.
Do you want to tell her all about your pepper patch here, babe?
Oh, sure. I mean, did you already go over the type we have? So they're labeled. We got shishito right in the front. And this thing is, man, it's growing a lot of peppers everywhere.
Yeah, that's what you were
You can see
saying.
that?
So heavy producing.
Look at
yeah.
that. And it's, I mean, it's still throwing buds out and blossoming, and it's gonna have a lot of peppers. Nicole and I tasted one the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And they taste like steak. A little spicy, not overwhelming. They're good. It's our first
Nice.
time tasting
Yeah.
those.
Nice.
And then over here we have poblanos. I can't wait for these to be
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some chile rellenos.
Oh yeah.
And then you can see what I was saying, Robin, how bushy those are. You know those are sugar rush peach plants.
Yeah.
They're just so giant.
They
and
each
bushy.
have their little personalities, because
They do.
I did Aro con pollo.
Okay.
Arroz con pollo.
Okay.
And they got probably 5+, because I'm 5'1", and they
my
got really
gosh.
high and just nothing but bushy leaves, right? And I was very worried, but I did read a lot of reviews. I went back and kept reassuring myself I needed encouragement that this was really working. And they said late bloomers. It took almost all the way to the end of August, and boom, they put flowers on and right to fruit immediately.
wow.
Like very, very fast. And then I probably had 100 per bush, and I had like 7 bushes.
Wow.
It was ridiculous how much it produced, but you had to be patient.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking with these. I mean, if you look at that sugar rush peach plant, look at how many blooms are on there, on that top, and how many peppers are already coming through.
Yeah.
And the peppers take a long time to ripen. Mature.
Yeah.
Because they're
They get an orangey.
an orangey peach color.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those will take a little while.
Nice.
The ones right there in the back are not getting too tall, but as you can see,
They
they're
get
also
less
throwing
sun.
peppers out.
Yeah.
The ones in here.
Cool. And your dill is going to seed. I saw you were going to save that. Yep.
Yeah, I know. I need to come and clip this off because it's just going to start reseeding itself.
Yeah.
And then we've got oregano and mint
Mint,
back
yeah.
here. And this is our ahi cachucha pepper plant from last season. He
Oh.
survived our little Florida winter, and he's got peppers on him already.
Oh, they're cute.
Yes.
She. Sorry.
It's my pepper
And
plant.
you've got red Russian kale. And
Yes.
what is this?
These are green leaf Salanova lettuce.
Oh.
Coming to the end of lettuce season for us already.
It really is. And I would eat that before
before it starts
another
to get
massive
bitter
rainstorm
or
gets here.
anything.
That's what happened to me. I had all that May Queen lettuce and it was doing good and I was like, I know I got to eat it. It's April. And boom, we had that heavy rain and the bugs really were all over it. And there's your
More basil,
more-
bee balm.
Bee balm. That's a traditional lavender. I don't remember the name of the regular variety.
Yeah.
That one's much slower growing, as you can see. I actually just transplanted that last night. And then more of the oregano. This is a pepper plant that we almost gave up on. I don't know what variety it is.
I want to say it's
Okay.
jalapeno,
I think so.
but it looked just like the pepper plants over there, like the jalapeno over there, where it's all leathery and shrunk. But that one's doing better
And
now
then it
too.
came back.
And then it came back.
Yeah, and you've got your lettuce and
Yep.
salad.
Those are
Red
red
leaf.
leaf Salanova, and then we've got a red leaf
Romaine.
romaine, and then down there is Thai basil.
Oh, okay.
I'm hiding behind my GreenStalk.
Oh, wow. It's beautiful. So you were asking about white flies, and I've noticed when you get into the super heat of summer and dry spells, that's when they flourish and reproduce a lot. And so you want to watch, especially I noticed in my yard with peppers, and they're in the grass too, but I noticed with the peppers, you got to stay on top of it with like neem, but don't do neem in the full sun, just early morning, late evening is best.
Oh wow, I need to take a bunch of this.
But they were all over those Aros Compollo peppers. Yeah.
Yeah, they're over on the tomatoes and peppers over there, but they're also over here on the cabbages.
Yeah.
These tiny little white things that are flying around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like everywhere
So
right now.
they like it and thrive when it's dry.
Yeah, right now it's been dry, so you see that.
Yeah, we're about to 3 weeks, everything's going to change over.
Yeah.
We're just going to become wet.
So this is the third GreenStalk. This is the leaf, so as you can see it's a lot shallower. But this one is full of herbs and nasturtiums. We've got some lettuce in here, but this thing has been thriving. I actually need to harvest a bunch of these herbs and dry them or infuse them into oils.
I was going to just say infuse them. Yeah. I like your infused videos.
I want to do a bunch of, with the time, since I have so much infused oil, I'm going to do a bunch of the ice cubes with these.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That way we have some fresh stuff.
All right, and the Mexican sunflower,
Our pride and joy here, the Mexican sunflower.
Diversifolia tithonia, or I have that
So
backwards.
do you let it grow this tall in yours garden?
Mine is that height right now.
So
I
last
feel
season you said you had problems with it blossoming.
no, I didn't have a blossom yet, so I don't know.
They're nice. There's flowers everywhere.
So don't cut it. You
Don't
think
cut
it'll?
it. Well, the season. When was the season that?
Well,
they
I
start
want to
blossoming?
leave it and see if we're gonna get, like Robin was saying,
Like
early
maybe
blooms
spring.
this year, because I think this one will bloom twice. It just depends.
I remember you putting this bed in. This is nice.
Yeah, we just actually this morning I went ahead and cut the broccoli and all the plants we had right here, because we want to put eggplant and we want to put bee balm, interplant with bee balm in this area.
Nice.
We're letting these cabbages, mature a little bit more, because they're just starting to form heads, but they're probably going to be gone here in the next couple of weeks,
Right.
and then we're going to put more eggplant. We got a lot of eggplant.
Yeah.
What are
that's
what
good.
kind of eggplant?
I did Louisiana long green, Galaxy of Stars, and Rosa Bianca. Rosa Bianca did real well for us last year. So we're hoping that over here they'll do even better, because they've just got more space.
Right.
So you can see we're finally getting little heads out of these. These took a long time. There's a lot of shade in this area.
And I noticed you just took 2. So if you feel like you have a surplus, you can clean it, take it out, clean it, double wrap it in like saran wrap and put it in your garage fridge. It'll last maybe a month.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they actually, we do pretty good with the cabbage, right?
Yeah. We eat a ton of vegetables.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We eat through
We've
stuff
been
pretty
having
quick.
cabbage
You're
for the last
intentional about eating your
month,
vegetables.
right? There's cabbage in the
Yeah.
refrigerator all the time. And
Oh gosh.
Brussels
This
sprouts.
is your Brussels,
Our
yeah.
super sad sprouts.
They're getting a little bit bigger. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You can start seeing them. I'm gonna feed them a little bit this week and see if we can get a little bit.
For here we've got tons of red Russian kale, ragged jack kale.
My favorite.
This is our first year growing it and I love it. We tasted it in one of the recent videos and it's so mild compared to other kale varieties. It's really tasty.
It's my favorite. Well, I like the Nero de Toscana, which is similar. I don't know if that's the same exact.
These
but
I think are dazzling blue.
yes,
Yeah.
it's close. It's,
Yeah, very close.
But for years we just lived off of this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look what we have growing in here.
What?
Another volunteer.
Yes.
We don't know
And
what
there's
it is.
another one right
Another
there.
one growing there.
Oh.
And we're just
yep.
gonna let it go.
See what happens.
I love that.
Then over here we've got more lettuce, a couple peppers that we didn't have anywhere else for are on the end. And then these are all of our asparagus beans. So the Chinese noodle bean, yard long beans.
I don't want to step on your.
And they're just
Irrigation.
getting started.
Yes. Cool. They're
And
so
they're so
fun.
tasty. We had a green
They
one
are.
that we were eating. Oh look, it looks like there's some more going over there. Or another little baby, or is that a leaf? I can't
Just wait until when they start, you won't be able to stop them.
tell. So the hope is that they cover this trellis.
Yeah.
I wanted an arch trellis so bad. I'm hoping up on the Tennessee farm I can get a arch trellis and maybe like some climbing roses or something.
Yes. Yes.
This is my pride and joy bed this year. This is the OG bed. It is full of tomatoes, marigolds, and onions.
I love your
Combo.
companion planting.
Thank you. I figured I would try it, see if it really does anything as far as pest management. And I transplanted all these marigolds from my front space where I had started. They had reseeded themselves.
Right.
I have so many of them.
It's beautiful up there.
They just took off. I actually came through when we got back from Tennessee and I chopped all of these off because it was so overgrown. There was no airflow. Those are the Florigold Micro Dwarf.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. You had determinate and indeterminate.
Yeah.
Both.
So I've got Florigold Micro Dwarf here in the front that produce these little yellow tomatoes. And then over here we've got Delta Dwarf. These are a large tomato variety, but the plant gets to about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
So it'll top off at about 4 feet. Behind there I've got Southern Nights. These are a large slicer that are a deep blue or black tomato variety. I think these are out of Russia.
Beautiful.
And then,
I can't wait to see those.
yeah, I'm excited. And then this one I have labeled as a Florigold Micro Dwarf, but it doesn't look like one.
Looks
Not
like the
exactly
other
sure. This might be a Berry's Crazy Cherry. I'm not sure. I kind of got to see what it
So that's the indeterminate.
what it comes out as.
Right.
Got a bunch of it back here.
And then this is our pineapple tomato. Everything's got blooms. These don't have little tomato babies yet, but they will in a few days here.
Look at how big those blooms are, though. You
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah.
They're big.
And these are a big slicer. These are a yellow and red slicer variety.
Nice.
This is my giant kale plant that I just have to leave so we can have kale chips.
Absolutely.
And
We
then,
take from it every week.
yes, I actually have a big giant bowl in the fridge full right now.
Yeah.
And then all of these back here are Berry's Crazy Cherry.
Nice.
So hopefully we're going to be loaded with cherry tomatoes this season. So that's one thing that we've learned here with like limited space. We want to do a variety, but we also have decided it's probably better to grow a large amount of a few crops, like a few of the crops that we really like to eat and enjoy, or else you're just not getting enough production to really like make a difference in your diet and what you're
Are you
consuming.
talking about the first time when we had this and we planted it with like 20 different...
We did the square foot gardening method the first time in this.
Yeah.
First of all, it took me like 3 hours to plant it, which was ridiculous. It was my very first time planting it, and we hardly got any food like to eat out of it because it was like a few peppers that we got, and then a few of this, and one squash, and
Yeah.
so we've learned how to maximize our space to get an abundance of food in the same amount of space that we were growing with before. And then this is another bed full of peppers.
A couple different peppers in here. We have the California Wonder, the bell pepper,
Nice.
and then Chinese 5-color,
Uh-huh.
and then we have habanada.
That's hot. Is that one hot? right?
This one here?
The Chinese
yes,
5-color?
yes,
Yes.
it's supposed to be
That's
very
what I
hot.
Is there a little pepper on there? Or is that
No,
I
the
see a
blooms, look,
bloom.
the bloom?
they're purple.
Okay.
They're beautiful. Very
Yeah, I
pretty.
saw those. Holy cow, those are pretty.
So you
Yeah.
should start seeing peppers from those.
California Wonder.
California Wonder, and then Habanada is this row here, and then we have ají cachucha next to it, and then we have some more poblanos, and then shishitos with a Chinese in the back. To talk a little bit about asparagus, because I did get a few questions from the video we made about how we planted these. There were some questions about cost. I got these pods here at Home Depot for $12. They were $11.99. I think it was fairly priced, actually very well priced.
Yeah, that's very reasonable.
And then the soil here, as you've seen in the video, we mixed it ourselves, so we kind of minimize costs there.
Yeah,
So pretty cool.
and they're already up. So
Yep.
They're
and you'll
already
take
up.
those to Tennessee with
Yeah.
you.
It's been what, like 3 weeks?
3 weeks? Yeah.
3 weeks.
I mean, they popped up within days, and then now they're already ferning.
This is our Subpod. Want to show you the plants we have here. When did you plant that pepper plant?
I planted this
Nice.
pepper plant probably a year ago, and we were getting like hardly any sun, and the soil was just not very good. But since the worms have like reproduced and enriched this soil, these plants took off, and now this plant has peppers growing on it.
This, the reason why I went, when I walked out, you have summer plants and winter plants in the same
Yeah.
box, all producing. You
Yeah.
have a beautiful head of cauliflower right next to peppers.
Yep.
So it's kind of crazy, but the soil has improved that much. And
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about it, like, so we feed the worms, right? We give them all our wasted food, veggies, as you can see in there, and then we put the carbon, which is just shredded paper. Let me see if I can pull some of these up
They
here.
hide during the heat of the day.
Yeah, but you can see all this is worm castings, and you can see the worms are in there, right in here.
Yeah, so eventually,
that's so good.
that'll go into our gardens.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to get at is sometimes we don't feed the worms enough food, because I did put a lot of worms in here. There's probably about 3,000 worms that I put in here, and so they get out into the rest of this raised bed, and they eat all the good nutrients from the soil. We have filled this raised bed several times up to the top here,
Yeah, it's
and you
settled.
can see it keeps settling. So the worms are in there eating and dropping their castings, and I think that's what's helping everything out. This
There's the
compost
worms.
here is ready. I just haven't used it, but it's
What? Oh,
Look at
okay.
that.
So I'm totally a newbie to this. What is that layer that you're putting over your worms?
That's the worm blanket.
Okay.
So that keeps them protected, right, babe? Keeps
Yeah.
the light out.
keeps them moist too. You're supposed to keep that blanket moist.
Wet, okay.
That way if they
That
need
makes
any
sense.
water, they can get it from here.
Wow.
But yeah,
And then that's an old worm blanket, because they'll start to break that down and eat it.
Oh.
it's compostable material, so you
Yeah.
don't need to worry about it. But
And then right up here, it tells you what you can put in the compost, what the worms can have, what not to put in there, and what you can put minimal amounts of. Because it's a worm compost system, you don't want to give them a bunch of spicy stuff. You want to avoid doing too much oils. And then like onions and citrus, you want to watch.
Look at it's so alive.
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of life in there.
Wow.
You want to smell that, babe? It smells good. I smelled it earlier.
That's okay though.
I mean, you would think it'd be smelling.
And you don't have to put the Subpod in this. We ordered this raised bed from Subpod, but you could just dig a hole in your backyard and put this down in there.
Okay, and grow around it.
Yep.
See, in a catalog, and it's so much different than when. Okay, at your house, it looks so doable.
Right. Yeah. And I think composting is like one of those intimidating things for a lot of people, and that makes it very simple.
And I'm very so like we wanted to start with composting, but we had so many raccoons and possums, and I didn't want to attract them to the yard when
Right.
you're growing vegetables, because then they go for your vegetables too.
Right,
So
exactly. And that's totally contained. You don't need a large space. It's not a bunch of bays. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to do a bunch of turning.
no, I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching our farm tour of the Espinozas Urban Farm. I will put a link to their channel above, and give them a look and a subscribe, some thumbs up and some love.
Yeah.
And they're doing wonderful things. Follow them and ring that bell, because you're going to want to see how they take raw farmland and turn it into a beautiful permaculture and
Working farm.
Yeah. So take care, you guys. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.
Okay. Okay. Stand up straight.
These should be at the end. These should be the outtakes.
Yeah, we like
we like doing outtakes at the end.
Oh my goodness.